Good morning. In this video I go through the fourth portion of rebuilding the Stihl TS400 concrete cutoff saw. It will start with examination of the last problem I found with the saw and finish with the saw in fully running condition, ready to go to work. Hope you enjoy this. There will be no more.
Watch the birdie! So the worst on this end. Right about 3. Worst down that end is about 40. So we have about 63 thousandths to run out on that. That is really sick. This is basically flat. It's been built flat with it's been plain woodwork convention. Of course I'm rebuilding saws on a woodwork convention. But the blade doesn't bend, it's flat. There's nothing wrong with it. So, look at these things. This guy has a bit of flex on it. Not that much. So the question becomes, is it a bent shaft or is it a other problem? So we're going to go ahead and take this end apart and tear into it. So I need T25 Torx. I'm going to take these apart. I'll take this screw out, water feed. Okay, that loosens the belt. Leakage out of the carburetor there. 25. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Zoom back out. Need a small snap frame thingy. Wow, is that sticky? Come on, get a pick and get that out. There it goes. Had to get it. Alright. That should give me the back one. It don't appear to have a lot of wobble in it, so that's leading us to this guy. Definitely screws back here, so we need baby impact, take that guy off. This bearing's kind of heavy. works good. Let's get something. Don't bite, Daddy. Ah, it's left-hand thread. Okay. Get my brass hammer here and get that knocked loose. Same trick I used on the other stuff. Right? Okay, brass hammer. There we go. There she is. Hold some bearing in. Got an extraction problem right there. Wow, that's dirty. All this concrete dust and crap, and asphalt and everything. It's on. Nasty. Alright. So what the new shaft looks like. That should just come right on out of there, but it's going to be interesting trying to get a hold of it. Doesn't really matter whether I bungee up the shaft here. Oh, that's interesting. It did not want to come off. Okay. Nothing to do with that. Alright. Let me see if I can get a small enough socket. Alright, what's first? Put dips in there. Alright, fine. So I'll be back after I press this. First squeeze. Alright, so that's nice. Gotta get something in here. I'm beating the crap out of the countertop because it's Southern Yellow Pine, so it isn't hardwood. I shouldn't be doing it here, but I ain't got no sense. Okay. Busy trying to get this thing. Everything up in his head is a mess, and it's because it sits in an environment that is so tough on machinery. go. That one's out. I'm going to do the same thing on the outside. Yeah, that one's easy. It's not solidly messed up. Spacer in the middle. I do not know whether that is going to be willing to go down. The bearings are shot. They're lumpy. They're not good. Yeah, it's driving through. Alright, she's cleaned out. Bearings in the spacer. Yeah, this bearing is okay. It's probably the one that was inside protected. This bearing's outside where all the crap comes, and it's notchy. Junk. Oh well. Six 201 Charlie 3. Yeah, as long as I'm in there, I might as well replace both of them. Can't tell whether the shaft was bent or what on the original. Because something was wobbling. I have the range there. Not seeing it. The problem is the exaggeration on the 14-inch blade is rather a lot. So the run out on this thing can be really small, and the run out on the blade can be really large because of it. I do know this shaft was in there hard, so getting it out, because it's so rusted up, this little collar slides onto the shaft and is kept on there by a key. You can see what happened to the keyway when I pressed it out. The key was just messed up, and it blew the collar apart getting out because it couldn't come onto the underside of it. So I basically need this collar. This key is on Mars somewhere, because when the thing came apart, it came apart rather loudly. So the saga continues. The little thingy is not whole yet. So this will be one of the last pieces of the part, but I'm going to have to go buy both bearings, that collar, and that key. So It's off to the land of figuring it out. More to come. Okay, so what I'm doing in here, this is the original backing plate for the blades. This is the one that I picked up as a used one that looked terrible, but here's the thing. If you lay this on the flat surface, it has a few thousandths. Here, I'll move it over here so it's a little bit. There's just a few thousandths of rockage. This, and by the way, this plate's fairly flat. If I turn it sideways, I don't get any rocking back and forth, but I get the rocking going that way. And it's not much, just a few thousandths. So, clean off. Lay this one down. There's no rock anywhere in it. It's solid. So, I'm starting to prep this, and I was trying to do it with a piece that doesn't stick. This has got a sticky back paper because it's still designed for not to use hook and loop. So when I stick it down, it doesn't want to slide as much, and then I can just nice even pressure. Hang on, let's make this a little bit clearer. Nice even pressure. Circular motion. I'm going to use coarse grit. What I'm trying to do is take this off. I want this surface nice and flat and smooth. The back surface I don't have to do anything with on the steel. It feels perfect, and if you look at it you can see their kind of goldy treatment telling you that it's okay. Now peel this guy up, and I'm going to go to the fine stuff. Which doesn't want to stick as well, and I'm just going to slow round polish it. And it starts to get smoother and smoother and cleaner. So this crazy rusting that was on this thing happens because they get wet and nobody takes care of them, especially if you've got the abrasive wheels, not the diamond wheels, that have paper labels. They hold the water. It really makes a mess out of things. Okay, that's getting kind of yucked. Whoops. Alright, so it's getting kind of smooth around the outside. I'm not touching the rust in the middle. I'm going to go throw it on the wheel and see if I can clean that up a little. Alright, so it's decrustied in the middle now. Not perfect, but it's good enough for what I'm going to do with it. So I'll give it a last polish. Okay, so the trick is really to have something really, really flat. I'm pretty sure this steel being as flat as I want it to be, but there's another trick you can use. What do I do with it? I'm looking for something. Oh, it's underneath. Here. I'm not worried about it this much with what I'm doing here, but I'm going to pull out and look down at what's back there. See that slab of granite under there? This thing? They're flat. It's a chunk of 3/4 inch granite countertop, and I use it for sharpening chisels and the like. And that, being as sharp as it is, works really good. Or excuse me, being as flat as it is. Okay, so we have a nice, clean, and more importantly, flat. Give it a little polish. Yeah, it polishes off really flat, really quick. So, yep, so that's prepped and ready for use. No, that's backwards. Oh, stop. we got parts. This was the parts that we were looking for. This will hopefully finish us off tonight. So, what we have here is a key that has disappeared somewhere in my shop from taking apart the old one. And then we have this kind of nasty looking pulley that we're going to dress up real fast. The big thing is this thing in the middle. The old one is broken. God knows where I put it. It's over here somewhere. Gotta get the crap out of the way. Yeah. Either way, it needs to be replaced. Yeah, Mama's gonna want to save the packages, so we'll do that. This can go sideways. These are for a different project. And this is the one that ain't no good that we're going to put in our spares. The gentleman does not want it back. Alright. Take the skin right off. Probably be wearing gloves. There we go. Get it nice and shiny in there. I would really rather not have it do what it did on the last one. It seized really bad. So what I'm going to do is clean it up a little bit. And then I'm going to hit it with some. So, we need our house back. So everything we're going to do will be done on that side. I'm just trying to make things easier by locking the blade up so I can get at it. So that's high enough. Yeah, that works. Okay. So this guy goes on fairly straightforward. It's just should be an easy slide fit. It is. And then the key that's right here should go in there. Good. I'm going to very, very lightly grease it with brake lubricant. This is a good high pressure grease that won't be bothered by the water and stuff that's going to get on there. It will help me keep the thing in much better shape. Okay, so now I should be able to line that up. Wiggle, wiggle. Oops, I pushed the key, I think. Yes, it did. They always do, because they're just moody. Where are you? There you are. Good. Yeah, that should work. And then it's just a matter of setting this guy I gotta remember, I think it's left-hand thread. It is. Cool. Should take care of that. Now we play itsy footsie with the saw here. Make a sandwich. All 3 bits go together all at once. I gotta save those nuts to go with the other one. All I gotta do is line this up with a pulley, since it should still be released. Line that up. Set this cover. Yeah, I know the cover is very ratty. Come on, pulley. Come on, pieces. Up here where you belong. Thank you. Oops, that dropped right down through. Where are you? There you are. As with all things, thread all the bolts up first. Reverse it, tighten them up late. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. What do we got here? 2 loose. So they must be 19s. They are. Okay. So for reference sake, the nut on the spindle is 17 millimeter. These are 19. And we're leaking gas. Isn't that nice? Should be. And then I need the 19 on a hand googie. So as you can see, it's loose. Bum, 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 bum. Alright. Got it locked that way. Let it in loose. We got something wrong. That ain't good. What did we do wrong here? Did you pop off, little machine? Do. He thinks I have got to get it all the way out, which I didn't do. I think I left it back some, which is a bad idea. Well, feels like it's there. Put this guy back on so we don't wreck it either. Why am I in drop screw mode today? Or is that just because? Look. Now the only question is, will it start? This should be interesting to watch. off one. On that note, we'll call that one put together and put to bed. So she's going down here for now. Go to sleep. And that ends. That'll be the end of that.
Okay, so I want to talk about whether or not building the TS400 from a piece of junk was a good idea or a bad idea. And what you see here is a spreadsheet of exactly what I put into it. The original saw was a $100 junker that somebody didn't feel was worth rebuilding, and I bought it. I added into it a known condition. I needed to replace the cylinder and the piston because it was known to be bad, no compression. And I bought a kit off of Fleabay that had most of the components you'd need for that job. It had all the gaskets, and it turns out that it also had these crankcase seals in it. I wasn't paying enough attention when I read the description. I do that a lot, so I end up buying a few things like $6 of extra stuff I don't need. And after buying that kit, I needed to start replacing all kinds of things that were not there. The air cleaner gasket seal I knew was damaged. I did not read the kit again well enough, and it turns out it was in there. They also had the air cleaner parts, filters, whatnot, but they didn't have the plastic bits, and missing off of the saw was one of the plastic bits you have to have. The water kit was completely missing. They make cheap replacements for it. The decompression cover, rubber thing that goes over the little button you push to decompress the cylinder, was missing, and turns out cheap enough to replace. The shroud molding that goes over top of the plug, missing. The annular buffer mount, annular buffer cover, both of those were in terrible shape and were replaced. Spark plug cover here, put on there. Crankcase seals, I bought them, didn't need them, but I will save them for later if I do need them, because they can be extracted if I have to somewhere down the road. We get to the used parts in a sense that the flywheel cover was messed up. I have a pretty good feeling that the original saw got dropped really hard because of the bent washers where you mount the blade, causing that run-out problem, and the handle all the way around needed some severe work to get it back in line the way it should be, and the flywheel cover was cracked, busted up. Yeah, that saw had a hard life. Okay. The drive belt for the cutoff wheel was worn just completely out, needed a new one. The clutch bearing was shot and needed replacing. The carburetor, I found that they're so cheap that rather than spending all the time and effort and nearly this exact same money or possibly more for a carb kit, just buy a new carburetor. They're cheap. I almost to the point where I consider them wearable parts, wear out replacement parts, whatever you want to call them. Just buy the carb, throw it in there. You'll save yourself so much grief. It works perfectly, a minor little tune on it, and you're good to go. After that issue discovered with the blade run out, I bought a spindle, and I bought a pair of washers and a bolt that were needful. And then the last thing that's not on here is I spent another $22 on a replacement pulley, spindle, piece, and key. So in truth, if I add in the last piece of this, it should be about $22.59 if I recall correctly. I have just at $400 in that saw. That total $400. Now the question is it really worth it? And that throws you to, what is your time worth? Because right now I have about 6.5 hours of rebuild time because I don't do saws every day. I had to take it apart. It takes a little thought. It takes redo. You never get it right the first time on some of the stuff, and you have to do it over, as you've undoubtedly seen in the videos. So what is 6.5 hours of my time worth? I don't know. I personally think it's fun to play with puzzles, so I'm not really worried about the cost. What does it cost to replace the saw in terms of going out and buying a running saw from somebody else? Well, there's two costs involved in that. You're going to pay cash for the saw, whatever it is, whether you find it on Marketplace, somebody you know has one for sale, or Craigslist, or wherever you find it. There's going to be a cash value for that saw. Most of the 400s, 420s that I've found are in the neighborhood of $500 to as much as $800 or $900, which I think is ridiculous. But they're all used saws, and the second cost comes into play there. What's the history on the saw? I do not know the history. I don't know what they've done to it. I don't know whether they've run it on whatever they can mix and run it on in the field. I don't know whether the air cleaners were replaced when they should have been. I don't know any of that. And you can check it out, but you're still taking somebody else's used equipment and condition questionable. Anyway, given that, I think I did just fine spending $400 on the saw. It's well within the reasonable cost of what I wanted. The cheapest next saw I've seen in the last month and a half, 2 months on Marketplace or Craigslist has been $500 for a 420, and that 420 does not look good. It looks rather well used, although they claim it's perfect and runs great. Anyway, take that to heart, and I am done with the series, and thank you very much for watching. It has been an interesting run to do this.